Bueno, buenos días. I am very excited to be part of this conference. I'm going to give you a quick background on who am I. I'm a proud graduate of the Universidad de Puerto Rico, de la UP. Go Gallitos! I started my career here right across the bay in Bacardi Caribbean Corporation, where I was doing marketing for Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. 2 years into it, I was promoted to go to Miami to work at Bacardi USA, where I was brought on board to do special new product development. That's where my innovation journey began. After 6 wonderful years of working in Bacardi USA, I took a leap of faith and I changed industries. A pretty radical move, because I was doing brand image marketing, and all of a sudden, I decided to go and become a farmer. Back in 2007, Costa Farms was looking to build a marketing team, and they presented to me what was a wonderful blank canvas, a canvas that I was going to be able to build innovation with my past experience and marketing in an industry that sadly, although green, it was very green when it came to marketing and innovating themselves. I am happy to report that today, Costa Farms' third-generation privately owned farm business is the largest grower in the world, recognized by the industry by the most prestigious award last year, which is International Grower of the Year. We have a robust, best-in-class marketing. We have great innovations that we're really proud of, and we're going to keep pushing the industry. So let me set the stage for you guys to understand. Here's a quick snapshot of U.S. wholesale floral sales. 10 years. From 2005 to 2015, compounded annual growth of the entire industry has been less than 1%. We survived the Great Depression. It didn't hit a nosedive, but the growth, it's not exponential. It's very, very soft. We're recovering a little bit now in 15 and 16 because the housing market is improving, but we still have a long way to go. One of the challenges that we're faced is that our core consumer, the baby boomer, who has been our core consumer for a while, is participating less in buying plants and in gardening in general. So we have a new consumer, mostly the millennials, that right now are not participating as much. That's why you don't see an enormous amount of growth. It's important to note that this year marks the first year that millennials have the highest buying power out of all of the generations. That's just not the important point. What's interesting is that their spending patterns are different from previous generations. So we're competing with share of mind, attention, and share of wallet with other industries out there. This is where innovation kicks in. Innovation is an important initiative that we all need to engage in order to bring health back to our industries. So I'm going to show you 3 examples of how in Costa Farms we've approached innovation in order to recruit new consumers into the category, but also continue to engage our core consumer. You must be saying, what does NASA Spain and a random stick with a cord have to do with innovation? Well, let me show you. Let's start with NASA. Back in the 80s, there was a group of scientists from NASA that were experimenting in how to grow plants up in the International Space Center. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Wolverton, from that study, was concentrated in finding out what other benefits indoor houseplants could provide in the space station. So Wolverton concentrated on that, and he found a really interesting piece of information. Plants are excellent air purifiers for small spaces. So what happens is plants serve as air purifiers. They grab harmful toxins called volatile organic compounds that exist everywhere around us, from the paint on the walls, from the carpet, from the ink in the printer. And what the plant does is that it consumes that, cleans the air, and then gives us oxygen. So Wolverton did a fantastic study that rated different types of plants and how well those plants consume different VOCs from the environment. It was an excellent research. I came across this research when I joined Costa Farms. The second generation of the company back in the 80s, when the research was published, they actually promoted it. But sadly, during those times, it really didn't get a lot of traction. So what did we do with this reliable, interesting piece of information that we acquired from NASA? We developed a brand. O2 For You was the first brand that Costa Farms launched in 2008. It began as a public service campaign where we set off to different cities in the United States to promote the valuable message that indoor houseplants are good for you. We did this via several media stunts. We did a lot of PR, media stunts that had to do, for example, going to hospitals and giving new moms the gift of a plant and educating them on why they needed to bring this to their child's room. We also partnered with different governmental agencies like the Clean Air Council, and we set off to educate public buildings on why they needed to bring plants into the buildings again. We did this via promoting the message, national TV shows like Good Morning America. We went on radio talk shows. We utilized extensively the internet. It's a great place to seed a valuable message and amplify it. Social media was phenomenal for this message and very effective. After a couple of years of increasing brand awareness of O2 For You, we decided to package it as a retail branded program and sell it to all of our customers around the US and Canada. Today, it's still a really big program that we sell during spring and other times in the year. It has not only generated revenue for the company, but it's also helped us continue to spread the awareness that plants are good for you. I am happy to report that since the launch of the brand till today, we have achieved 3.9 billion consumer impressions on this message. So you must be thinking, okay, so what has that really done for you for recruiting? Well, when we launched the brand, it was a recruitment vehicle to get that new consumer that we knew were plant blind. They were not buying plants. And I am happy to report that we've been seeing gains in this end. Since last year, we've been seeing publications like this and many other in the internet posting about and talking about how millennials are now participating with plants. In some cases, they're obsessed with plants. Well, we've taken it a step further. Last year, we conducted a pretty comprehensive consumer research study where we were talking to millennial consumers to see what they thought about plants in general. Well, it was a national survey, pretty comprehensive, like I said, and we discovered when we asked them, so what was the primary reason that you purchased plants? And 32% of the entire population that we surveyed cited because it purifies the air in my house. Now, on to my second example. One of the challenges that we have as a producer of plants is that the consumer has a hard time with our product. We know this is a fact. Consumers don't have a lot of education on how to care for plants. In fact, we know that the number one cause of death for most plants is that consumers either overwater, underwater, or simply don't water plants at all, and then they start looking like this and they die. So that brought us to our second innovation, which is this wooden stick with a string, and what this is called in just terminology, this is a wick. This was the first prototype that we came up with for a self-watering system to be sold to consumers so they wouldn't struggle with watering plants anymore. I still remember the day that one of our new product development managers came into my office with this, and he's like, I have it. I was like, what do you have? You have a stick in your hand. He's like, no, I have the solution. This is what we need to do. So I listened. What we needed to do was provide an inexpensive way to give this to consumers, because there's many self-watering pots out there, but they're all very expensive. So we wanted to take it a step further. We wanted to include the wick in the plant from the farm, so that way when it arrived to the stores, the wick was already in the plant and the consumer didn't need to do anything. They already had the solution inside the plant. So we went on and we were like, okay, we need to come up with an efficient process to do this, because we have a massive manufacturing facility. And for those of you that run a farm, you know that it comes in the springtime, you're shipping a lot of product. You don't want to disrupt the process that you've kind of done for many, many years. So we evaluated several processes to see how we could do this at the farm. We started with this. Then there was other ideas like this flathead screwdriver with a string. I mean, we did tons of tests. Some of them are still a blur to me. But at one point we said, you know what? We really need a partner. We don't know everything that there needs to be known about automation. That's really one good thing that we have, is like, you don't know what you don't know, and you need to be humble enough to understand that. So we went out and we said, who is the best company out there in the world that does automation for our industry? So we approached the Viscon group out of the Netherlands, and we told them about our idea, and we joined forces to co-create what today is called Waterwick. This is the brand. So the Viscon group developed this really nice, beautiful machine. We thought it was going to be what was going to solve all of our problems, and we were going to be able to wick hundreds of thousands of plants in the peak of spring. Well, guess what? We couldn't. The machine just couldn't keep up with the speed that we needed it to, so we could sell and ship those plants quickly. So we had to go back to the drawing board, like with many innovations. But you know what you do? You go back and you don't give up. You continue to innovate. And that's what we did. And we went full circle again, and we came up with this idea, which is very similar to the first one. It's called a click stick. It's a plastic insert with a wick already in it. And what we're doing now is that instead of applying it where we were having a bottleneck in our processing areas, we go out to the field, we take an extra step, and we apply the wicks to all of our products before they ship. This proved to be highly successful. So this is a plant that the consumer will get at the store before Waterwick. Now the consumer gets this plant with a wick, a cover pot that holds the water, and this only cost $1 more at retail to do. The consumer didn't even blink. They went for it. And it has been a highly successful product launch for us, innovation. So big that we are now expanding it, and we're coming up with more ideas, because all of our retail partners are so impressed by this disruptive innovation that they want to take it further. So this is just one of the concepts that we're currently, right now, literally, I did this with the people that we're working on like a month ago. And this is bringing Waterwick as a total store solution, that not only are the plants going to have the wicks, but now we're trying to minimize watering at the store level to help the quality of the product. So last stop is Spain. A group of us at the company, we take time to travel. One of the things that we've discovered is that traveling to other countries and seeing what they're doing with our products is a very effective way of finding new innovations and bringing them back. One of our plant hunters is our cactus and succulent grower, and he frequents Spain a lot because he has a lot of cactus growers that he talks to that are from Spain. So in one of his visits to Spain and to a particular grower, he stumbled across an interesting innovation that a grower was doing over there. So he brought it back to us. This is a cactus variety in its natural state. This is called the mamalaria. And you see the white that it has on top of it that looks like snow? Those are little hairs. So this is what the cactus has looked from the beginning of time and what the consumers used to buying. Sometimes you need to grab your product, what you've been doing, and you need to give it a makeover for the sake of recruiting and giving your product a fresh look. That's exactly what we did. And we came up with what we call today Desert Gems. One of my favorite products. This innovation has injected so much excitement into a category that was stale, was boring for the longest time. We have seen firsthand how the millennial consumer is participating. This is just a quick snapshot of hashtag Desert Gems in Instagram. How much fun is the consumer now having with a new product that all we did was inject color? Here's an overview of just the different shows that our team visits throughout the year. What's important here for you guys to know is we visit shows that are industry related, but we also visit shows, trade shows or events that are outside our industry. Why do we do this? Because we want to see what other industries like technology, South by Southwest, we want to see what they're doing. We want to see what can we maybe learn from what they're doing that we can bring back and apply to our industry. Our saying in Costa Farms is, if you don't go, you don't know. So I invite all of you to do some research and go and attend and talk and network, even in the internet. Go to platforms of people that are growing or doing the same thing that you're doing around the world, and you'll find different things. You might make a connection. You might come up with, who knows, the next great idea for your product. Another idea that I want to leave you with is the power of the crowd. We have a special group in the company that is dedicated to innovation. But innovation is really a cultural thing. You need to expand that to everybody in your organization. And we motivate, we incentivize people in the company to innovate in their own areas. And if they have an idea, to bring it forward. Because guess what? That's the power of the crowd. The more ideas you get, you never know where you're going to be finding a winning idea. Don't leave it up only to the innovations team. Expand and hear everybody's ideas. So in summary, there are many different ways of approaching innovation, probably to ignite excitement in your respective industries. You can innovate a message and communicate to consumers what is great about the product that you're growing. You can innovate a solution to solve a problem that you know your consumers are having and get them to participate more. And you can innovate always a product and give it a new look and a new face. These are just a few ideas that I will leave you with, but there are many, many more out there. And before I close, I do want to leave you with this quote. It was one of my favorite quotes from a children's book called Dr. Seuss, which is my son's favorite book. And it reads the following: think left and think right, and think low and think high. Oh, the things you can think up if only you try. I invite all of you to try to innovate so you can grow your businesses and you can fuel the economy of this wonderful, beautiful, bountiful island. Thank you.